Hi, everybody. Welcome to the pre-holiday. I guess it is the holidays now. People have been away from work. How are you tonight, Candace?
I am fantastic. I had to clear up all of my schedule to be here tonight. Hold everything off, and here I am.
I know you look very festive. And poor Tim said to me today, "Oh, you got to stop and get us a hat, a Santa hat." I go, "Okay, I will." Completely forgot.
I
So
just I just follow through on my word. What can I say?
you do. You are very, very good at that. And welcome to our viewers. Jordan, how are you? Happy holidays to you too. I hope you're doing good, and you and Bonnie are great and getting ready for the holidays, and your cats and your glass blowing. I bet you Jordan has blown a whole bunch of Christmas balls, ornaments.
Maybe.
Yeah, they'd be really, really nice. And are you and Jill all set for the holidays?
For the most part, yes. It's going to be busy because we got Christmas dinner with Jill's family over at her sister's. So as a result, I got my live stream that morning. Now, Sunday is normally my busy day. So I'm normally filming and editing the video that comes out on Monday. So now I've got to do that before. So I'm probably looking at doing that Friday or Saturday. So
Nice.
It's going to be a busy week.
No kidding.
Did you go on that other Dave? Is it Dave D?
Yes, Dividend Dave.
Dividend Dave, right? How did it go?
No, it went well. We filmed that last night. So he films them ahead of time,
Okay.
and then he releases them. So probably he said he thinks it's like next week that this episode will be released. So as soon as he gives me a link, I'll drop it for everybody because it was a fun little conversation all about just dividends.
He's in Canada, right?
He is. Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, and you put a poll up and asked about which tech stock do you think, and you got about 50 respondents. So did you get a conclusive answer on that?
Well, one absolutely conclusive answer is that it's not going to be Facebook.
Oh, that's interesting.
Facebook got 2% of the vote. So of the 50, basically we asked which U.S. tech company is going to do the best next year. The winner was Google with 34%, followed by Apple with 28%, Microsoft with 22%, Amazon with 14%, and I think somebody must have voted for Meta / Facebook out of pity because they got a measly 2%, which basically is one vote. When you got 50 people voting, each vote's 2%. So one person likes Facebook.
Oh boy. Well, but I'm wondering how long Google's going to be able to hold on because of the chat GPT. And since that night that you showed us that a couple of weeks ago, I have seen that now in articles in a few places.
But
my second last video was scripted by chat GPT.
And we messed with it last week.
You two did?
Well, on the stream we did.
Yeah, we played with it a bit on the stream.
Was it live? We were live, weren't we?
Yeah, we brought it live and we did a few little things with it.
What did Ken ask? He asked how to build a blockchain, wasn't it? Or
that's right, and it actually put the scripting up there for building a blockchain.
Get out.
In a very light form.
Like you have to give it more information. So you're not going to get like a full programming. Like if you wanted to code something like, let's say, a web page, it'll give you the HTML, but you would ask for each, say, okay, I want HTML that does this part of the page and then this part of the page, so in separate queries, and then you would just pull it all together and you'd have all of your information there. But time saver completely.
Amazing. Well, and it is spooky. So let's see. Google might do well this year, but let's see what ends up happening.
Well, here's the thing you have to remember. Google has Lambda that they're working on. If you guys remember, that was in the news. A person, an engineer at Google, ended up quitting because he said that Lambda had sentence. Google came out and said, no, it doesn't. It's just really, really good algorithms. But Lambda is supposed to be really, really good.
Interesting.
But Google, because it's attached to their reputation, they can't just release it into the wild the way ChatGPT does.
So true.
By the time ChatGPT becomes a real threat to Google, Lambda's probably going to be ready. And I suspect they've got the money and the brains that I think Lambda will probably win in the end.
But will ChatGPT be the one that is call it the decentral one, where it's more,
It's
it's not as censored?
It's hard to say. I mean, it really boils down to, I think what you're going to see when we look back in time at Chat GPT, it's going to be the one that sort of pushed Google to move a little faster.
Yeah, the disruptor.
So more or less, it's sort of, it broke the ice, and now everybody's sort of moving in.
Nice.
It's kind of like when the U.S. thought that Russia might be wanting to gun for the moon, they put everything into a moonshot and got there first.
Nice. Just wanted to say a shout out to Gary. Merry Christmas, Gary. Thank you for pulling over and texting us. That was very kind of you. Good luck with the hockey season. That's amazing. We hope you have an amazing time with your family over the holiday season. It's awesome. And we got Ken in the house. He's been quiet. He's gone mute for a second, but he's in the house. So
he's looking for his Santa hat.
He's looking
no. I was gonna say that 2%, which was one vote for Facebook, that had to be Spooner. That had to be.
Maybe.
That's right. Jeez.
I mean, you never know. Facebook could turn around and fool, and completely fool all of us. And it's like, what?
There was one night Spooner was giving me gears about XRP, or what was it, XRP or Bitcoin, and I was giving him the gears back about. And then he let it slip that he had invested a little bit in Facebook, so I was giving him the gears back.
Well, I will say that if for those of you that are still following, we still hold XRP, and their XRP is making some big moves. I mean, all of these things. It's just because there's bad stuff going on in the news. We kind of knew that was all going to happen. That was not that we didn't predict any of this. But if you are a long-term investor, then you just buy and hold. Some of the projects we're holding on to are going to do really, really well. But
and then there's Omi.
Oh, jeez.
Did you have to say that? Seriously,
Sorry,
it's Christmas.
He's waking up again. He's waking up.
You're going to be nice to me on Christmas. Anyway,
so you watch. It's going to be one of those out of nowhere ones, Ken.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I haven't sold. I'm still holding.
Yeah.
Us too. Hey, Ken, do you still hold your OMI on? Do you have that in cold storage, or you still have that on exchange?
Sendex, right?
It's still on Sendex, or
yeah.
One of them.
We've just been through all of this. Do we think we should be getting that off the exchange?
Well, here's the thing, because Candace, you have Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Does it accept everything?
Not everything, no.
Ledger
but they're always expanding. They're always adding coins to what they do accept.
And they just came out with a new wallet too.
Ledger?
Yeah, buddy.
What
looks
is
like a cell phone. Looks like a cell phone almost.
Yeah, just go to their website and you'll be able to see everything that they support.
Right.
So I think that's worth, in the new year, that's worth exploring some of those options for those people that are still investing in crypto. Like, I think that these are important kind of conversations.
Do we get the feeling that sooner or later Binance is going to go by way of the dodo bird? I mean, they just said that they were going to take a certain percentage, if not 100% of bailing out Voyager for what, $1.2 billion or something like that. Like, don't you think, like, part of me thinks that this guy's behind it all and that he now holds the cards. He holds the cards. And it's
sure he's behind it all. Did you hear Kevin O'Leary did an interview on CNBC and was talking about that some of what happened with this whole SBF
what's his name? JC?
Yeah, he owned a giant chunk of FTX, and he didn't like some of the way that Sam SBF was going, and so SBF decided to buy back his shares. And that's when the whole trouble started, because the guy that owned Binance was holding FTX hostage. Like, there was a fabulous interview. So I will be interested to see when the court proceedings come out with this whole thing, whether or not Binance will be in a big bunch of hot water for some of this.
Well, I think Binance is going to have a little bit of trouble. You know, I mean, I'm not allowed to be on Binance because I'm in Ontario, which is fantastic. But if I was on Binance, I would consider getting off of it ASAP, because that's how it starts. A little bit of trouble. Somehow FTX is always related. And next thing you know, they're going to close withdrawals. So Binance hasn't done that yet, but
They
I think there's
they
trouble brewing.
limited withdrawals on Binance.us.
Oh,
They
there
did
we
limit
go.
withdrawals.
There we go. It's beginning.
But CZ's too smart. I think Binance is going to be safe. I think he's making moves right now to dominate the whole crypto market and make it impossible for anybody else to move in.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see. We'll have to see what happens.
But then we have everything that's going over in Dubai with Satama.
What's going on there?
Well, they're coming out with their credit card now. They've got their platform. They've got their wallet. It's working flawlessly, like how Russ wanted it to be. And now they have EU Pay or something hooked up to it, and they have credit card coming out for it. So they're making moves in the DeFi anyways.
That's amazing. You know, Tim read an article today about a woman who just found a $30,000
$25,000
GIC in, like, when she was cleaning. This is going to be like us. We're all of a sudden going to come across something, go, what was this? Oh, that was the million OMI tokens we bought back in the pandemic. Oh my God, it's worth $1 billion. That's what's going to happen. You watch. Somebody's going to come across.
The sandwich will be $2 billion.
Well, you never know, right?
As long as the project keeps going and they have a burn mechanism down the road, yeah, it could be worth something.
Do we worry about Uniswap?
For what?
Just being somehow going down in flames with all this other stuff that's going on?
No.
Well, you know what? I still think, even with all the trouble that there has been in this space, even with all the trouble, Bitcoin's still holding its own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think Bitcoin will hold its own, because I mentioned this before on the show, that giant pump to all those all-time highs we had, a little more than a year ago, that was just all that retail money. So that retail money's gone. If you were to just lop that all off, Bitcoin is pretty much where it would have been if the pandemic didn't happen and all of that money got pumped into the economy. So Bitcoin's doing fine, to be honest.
Yeah, I seen a comparison. It was like 2018 or 2019, Bitcoin is the same price as it was then.
Yeah.
Still.
So it was the bubble that we were talking about, and it did burst. It's just the bubble will grow again. It's just going to take longer because there's not all that money floating around anymore.
Well, and everybody's scared, and that the recession word is being floated around like crazy. I've heard that some companies are starting hiring freezes. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that is being floated out and about there. And there is part of this that needs to happen to cool inflation off and to make the Fed stop, raising interest rates. So, but that's painful. Recessions are painful. We lived through the 2008 one, and it is not fun. If you are not financially prepared for downturns, it is painful. I will tell you, it's painful.
Well, we bought our first business in the first recession when interest rates were 18%.
Yeah.
Well, considering last week with the Fed in the U.S., with that 50 basis point hike, which was fine because that's what we all expected. But the reasons the market crashed is because they also indicated that it's not the time to be looking at cutting the rates, and that they're probably going to be increasing the rates all the way through 2024. That threw the market in a tizzy, and it had a very massive drop towards the end of last week. A little bit into the beginning of this week. It's starting to recover today, though, which is nice. It looks like we're starting to build up almost towards a Santa rally, but...
a Santa rally! I love that! Yeah,
well, officially, the Santa Claus rally is the last 4 days in December and the first couple in January. So roughly from about the 23rd this year till about the 4th of January. So that's where the Santa rally would be.
Oh, I love it. Do you know I'm a bit kooky? You know what I did this morning? I woke up this morning and I slapped Tim on the chest. I go, "Oh my God, today's a very exciting day." Tim's like, "What? What are you talking about?" I go, "First day of winter. It's the winter solstice. That means that we're going to have the shortest day of the year today, and then it gets brighter and brighter and brighter after this."
Well, that's exactly it. Most people, and it's funny, when you tell people winter is the time when the days are getting longer, people look at you odd, but that's the truth.
It is the truth. And
But
you
here
can
is,
totally see it. And you get partway through the summer and then it starts getting darker and darker. And then you go, "Oh no, winter is coming." But see, we're in winter now, officially. So now we can go, "Oh,
well, you want to
summer
know
is
a couple
coming."
interesting things about winter and summer. So because we're in the northern hemisphere, our winter happens when the Earth is closest to the sun, because the Earth is in a big, long parabola. So because of that, we have the better winters. The southern hemisphere, when they have winter, they're having winter when Earth is the furthest away from the sun. So they actually get worse winters than what we get in the northern hemisphere. Same thing in the summer, because they have summer when the Earth is closest to the sun. So they get much hotter summers than we get up here, because we're furthest from the sun when the Earth is tilted in our, in the direction to give us summer. But you want to really,
That's a really, just before you tell me the next fact, that explains, because I was watched a trivia thing about the fact that the South Pole is colder than the North Pole, but that explains why a little bit.
for now, and I'll tell you why, because our tilt isn't the same. It actually oscillates. So there's basically 20, about 20 degrees one direction, 20 degrees the other direction. So years from now, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of years, when our tilt moves the other way, our summers will be in winter right now, because our seasons will absolutely flip. And it will flip for the southern hemisphere as well. And this happens every, million years or so. It's just part of a giant cycle.
Yes. Yes. Well, okay. So are you tracking the mammoth storm coming?
Here's the thing about this storm. It all started in Siberia. So Siberia has the coldest air on the planet. Well, the weather system has set up something called a Siberian Express, which is where that cold air gets forced up over the pole and comes down into Canada. And then usually, depending on our systems on this side, it can flow right down into the States. And that's what's happening. So this is going to be called once in a lifetime storm. You are going to, and it's not the snow. This is what people are thinking. Oh, it means a ton of snow. Well, it's not going to be a ton of snow. There'll be significant snow, but you're going to have extreme cold winds going deep into states. Part of the states are going to be getting wind chills like -40, and they're not even used to, like, they don't get -40 in some of the places that it's going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of blizzard conditions. Ontario is going to get hit pretty hard too, because we're catching the top end of it.
But that's just on this side of the Rockies, isn't it? Or is it the whole states?
It's going to be most of the states.
Yeah.
So except for the West is being spared, but basically central US, and then it's going to loop a bit into the East. And that's going to be really interesting. Now, what's happening here in Ottawa is we're getting about 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. That's then changing into 10 millimeters of rain, and then coming back to 10 centimeters of snow. So it's going to be soup.
Well, the gal that works for me, her husband is a road worker in the region that they live in, and she got sort of a bit teary emotional because this is their daughters too. So this is magical Christmas season, and so she's gonna miss. Like I said, just don't do it on that day. Change and choose a different day to kind of, But so he's gonna be out first plowing. Then he's got to go and he's got to scrape the road because it's going to rain and then the temperatures are going to drop. So he's got to scrape the road of the ice and then go back out and plow again.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be places probably where the situation is going to be, can we have power back in time for Christmas?
Yeah.
Because you will have some power outages with this type of storm. So it's going to be brutal. And I mean, and if you're trying right now, like Vancouver's already being hit by the storm in Victoria, and they're getting hit with the snow and the cold. And
she's in it. She's in the middle.
She said,
of it.
"Thank God." She said, "Thank God." Her boyfriend Trevor's parents have gas fireplace because they'd had no power for a long time, so they're all down in front of the fire down in the basement.
Well, here's that thing too. Even if you're thinking that we're fine, we got food for a couple of days. Think about Christmas too, because even if you have your power that comes back in time for Christmas, you won't have a lot of time to do any shopping because this storm is pretty much going to kind of preclude Friday at least, and you might be able to get out Saturday, but get it all done now. Get it done tomorrow before it starts because this thing should be moving into Ontario tomorrow evening. So,
yeah. We've got tickets to go and see Fisherman's Friends on Friday night. So I said to Tim,
"You're not
going
going
to get us into Toronto?" And he's like, "Yeah, Toronto." It says it only says 5 to 10 centimeters in Toronto. We're going to get moderate. We're not going to get extreme. So if you watch the band, if you look at the map on the Weather Network, there's a little band. So we're in that little band, thankfully.
Hopefully you're okay then. But
yeah.
I mean, most of Ontario, I mean, we're going to get it rough a little bit, but nothing compared to what the States. This is mostly going to hurt the States more than anything else. Well, other than, the people in BC who are trying to figure out what to do with snow.
Right. Well, if hopefully it stays, if Tim's right in what he read, hopefully it stays to the east. No, yes, the east of the Rockies. And doesn't dip too low in, because the last thing we need is the growing regions down in Arizona and California to kind of get hit again, because we're barely dug out of the lettuce price.
No, because if you actually hit California, you could be helping them with their drought condition. If you give them a bunch of snow that's going to then melt and give them water.
That is very true. I'm just more worried about fresh produce because we're in doo-doo with some of that stuff right now. Anyways, this goes back to my argument for vertical farming. Vertical farming is a thing.
Yeah, I actually did promote a company, one of my lists the other day, on a vertical farming company.
Which one?
I don't remember what it was called. I go through so many names.
Yeah.
But I was looking, I thought about you when I was filming it. I was like, oh yeah, this is something Nancy was talking about at one point.
Yep. No, I'm all in for that kind of innovation and whatnot. So switching gears slightly, I know that you and Jill are ready for Christmas. Ken, are you and Natasha ready for Christmas? Like, have you got everything you need? Like, are you going to be okay? Because it looks like you're in the extreme area.
I'm just below the extreme area. They're calling for London to Park Hill. That's supposed to be the extreme area for this weekend. That's supposed to be it there. Ready for Christmas? I'm never ready for Christmas.
Okay, so tell me what goes on at the at your house, Ken, at the freaking Oracle's home for Christmas. What do you guys do?
Oh, we stay up until about 5 a.m. wrapping gifts, and then we get about an hour's sleep, and then get up with the kids.
Really?
Yeah, and then do the whole Christmas thing, and then we lay down for about 3 or 4 hours, and then we go to Natasha's parents' house for dinner.
Ah, nice. Okay, so you got that going on. And will you be live streaming while you're wrapping the gifts, or does that defeat the purpose?
Yeah, I probably won't be live streaming.
There you go. And so because this messes with your usual live stream, what happens?
No, it doesn't.
Well, Saturday nights he's usually on.
Wow. Friday's your main event, isn't it?
Well, normally Friday is, but Andrew's only available on Saturdays. So now it's like, what do I do, right? Do I do a Friday and a Saturday? Do I drop the Friday? Do I do maybe like a 2 to 3 hour on a Friday and then have the Saturday? It's all up in the air. I don't know.
Is Andrew still at his job?
Yeah. That's why he's only available Saturday nights.
Really? Well, good for him.
That is good. And so, okay, big burning question. Are you doing a special New Year's Eve stream?
Probably, possibly. I don't know.
That's where this all started last year at your New Year's Eve stream. Oh, he's on mute.
No, was it? No.
Yep.
You don't remember.
You started. The first time I met Andrew was last New Year's Eve at your place, and we got talking about aliens. And we got talking about, we had existential crisis going on. I mean, Candace, were you on that stream? I feel like you were on that stream.
I don't think I was on that particular one, but I was on, I think that, well, I think I was on it, but that was after I left. Because, you know, I don't stay up till like 3, 4, 5, or, you know, I don't like to see the sun come up in the morning.
Oh, but this was before midnight because I can barely make it up past 11.
Well, then I must have missed that one because I heard about the alien stuff after the fact.
Well, alien sightings are really hard to come by.
It was a good conversation. I remember that part.
Yeah, no, it really was. So, okay, so what do you got going on, Candace? Did you tell us before the stream or did you tell us in this? I now getting mixed up.
I'm not sure whether I did in the stream or out of the stream, but Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, I'm doing my Christmas live stream.
Yeah.
So that'll be going ahead. Videos.
And you're having dinner. And you're having dinner at Jill's sister's place.
Not tomorrow, but Christmas Eve day will be the last day for the stocking stuffers. So those shorts have been coming out daily with all of the picks that the community picked. So I have to see what number 1 is. So it's kind of cool. Now I have them all done now, so I'm going to upload them all tomorrow before the storm, just in case I lose power. So those will still come out.
Yep.
Nice. Do you feel like, do either of you do a New Year's resolution? Like, is a resolution something you guys do?
Well, one year I did a resolution. I declared that it would be the year of the cat, and I would post a picture on Facebook every day of a cat. And I did, and I numbered them 1 to 365. But here's the kicker. At the time I did Year of the Cat, I didn't actually own a cat. So that year, I was out with my camera stalking stray cats, people's cats in their yards to get pictures. I was doing everything I could to get a picture of a cat. And then about halfway through well, actually not halfway, most of the way through the year, around October, that's when I had gotten Blaze. And so then she dominated it for the last few months.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was the big New Year's resolution. And somebody was just like, I can't believe you actually did all 365. I'm like, yep.
Wow. So could you ever repeat that, but do every day a specific stock, not a stock or a company? Is there 365 that you could talk about?
Yeah, but it's just a matter of getting all the time in, right? Because I also do the day trading that takes up I'm doing day trading whenever the market is open. So
my goodness.
You know, so I do that. So it's almost like sometimes I feel like I'm doing 2 full-time jobs, but
no kidding. But okay, so but in general, are you a New Year's resolution type of person? Other than that,
yeah, no, I like to make silly ones. Like I don't like to make the serious ones because here's my thoughts. Like if you want to lose weight, doing it through a New Year's resolution is probably going to fail.
Yeah.
So do something fun and silly for New Year's. You know, like I think last year, wasn't it Tim who wanted to do his DCA challenge?
Well, and he's done it pretty much the whole year.
So as long as he survives there, then he's succeeded. So just do something fun, you know, whether it be I'm going to DCA into the stock or I'm going to do this. Just find something fun to do, or, you know, or maybe you want to do Year of a Cat, or maybe Year of the Dog, or maybe if you're into ducks, Year of the Ducks, get all those pictures in a row.
Get your ducks in a row pictures.
Exactly.
You're funny. Well, okay, so just to round that off, you did do the DCA every twice a day for.
Started out as once a day, and I don't remember at what point I went to twice a day.
Were you doing a day $10?
Yeah.
Per day or per transaction?
Per transaction.
So now we're up to $20 a day with Bitcoin. And listen, Bitcoin's been on sale, so we're just stacking stats.
Well, yeah, $20 a day today is worth a lot more than it was in January.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, no, I'm loving it. I mean, I don't listen. I don't expect anything out of anything that I own in crypto. I expect anything until 2025 to even move.
Yeah.
Or show any resemblance of any hope. It's just we're in the dark day. We're in the for those people who
we're in the long winter, that one that Ned Stark was warning us about.
Yeah. And for people who have hung in this long and have stomached it and have the stomach for it and realize that they're going to lose more money cashing out than holding on and waiting to see what the outcome's going to be, those are the people that would probably most likely be DCing into something that is a favorite of theirs, or a passion of theirs.
And unfortunately, because people sometimes watch and sometimes don't. I mean, we were very diehard watchers of Digital Asset News and Anthony Pompliano's show, like diehard watchers. And, with everything returning sort of somewhat semi to normal, life got extremely busy again. So even us, we haven't been as engaged.
I haven't watched any of those shows, and I can't tell you the last time I've looked at Lark Davis or the Pomp or
I watch Pomp from time to time, but my point in all of this is that where I was going. Oh my God, I'm thinking I'm going to lose my train of thought. Was because people had not been as engaged even with our community, they might have missed when everybody was going, get out, get your stuff off of exchanges. And so there's probably a chunk of people even in our community that because they don't watch this stuff all the time. And if you're investing is serious. You need to kind of, even if you've got a little bit of money into it, you got to kind of pay attention to where your money is, right? So, but this community, we were talking, Candace, you were one of the first ones to raise the flag. Ken, you've always been not your keys, not your coins, get everything off. So we can't completely say that people didn't have the stomach for it. I think there was a lot of people that got trapped and have unfortunately lost some money.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people sort of fooled themselves. Everybody got caught up in the whole FOMO of it all, and everybody was like to the moon. And there were so many people who were buying in when it was $60,000 a coin, and now they're sitting there with a coin worth less than 20,000, and they just, that's if they haven't sold it. A lot of them probably did on the way down.
Lark Davis is calling for Bitcoin 70K again in 6 months.
Well, Lark Davis is probably a little bit too optimistic, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to happen without regulation. There's just no way.
But don't you think that with that what happened with FTX is going to push them to have regulation? Maybe that's what he means.
Well, here, let me give you an example. In Canada, we've actually just started. We're looking at changing some of the rules in crypto, being that you're no longer allowed to use leverage or margin in Canada on crypto. That's being put into our security council, into our security rules.
Okay, but can I ask a question about that?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a line of credit, for instance, at a bank, and you take money out of your line of credit and you go and buy crypto, is that not the same thing as buying it on leverage?
No, it's not, because it's 1 for 1. Leverage and margin, you're getting like 10 times. So, you're getting massive amount. Like, you may have $1,000, but then you do a 10x leverage on it, and that $1,000 is acting like $10,000.
And where do you do that through? Is that through
exchanges? There are different exchanges that you can do that through. But now, if you're accessing any of those exchanges through from a Canadian IP, now there's ways to work around it. You could probably use a VPN and spoof things, and you'd have to have, like, maybe if you had an address outside of Canada that you could use, as a way to sort of get around it. But those exchanges will not be allowed to even let you attempt to use margin or.
Okay, I have questions. So, question number 1, so would FTX were they doing that? Were they allowing people to do what you just said?
I think they were, but I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't commit 100% to whether they were or not. But
I think they were more collecting retailers' money, and
yeah, they were doing a lot of that, and they were also lending a lot of that money out. So they may not have been doing margin. But I never used FTX, so that's what I'm saying. I can't really answer that.
But then where do you do that? So I know
There's
you can do
a
that.
bunch of different exchanges. I don't remember their names, only because I've never been interested in using leverage
On
like
crypto.
Even on anything. Even right now with gate trading, I use cash for my trades. I do not, I don't play with money I don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tim and I, that's why I'm asking so many questions about this, because we don't do that. Like when we first got into this way back when, this was the whole point of why we got into it. And it was 2 years ago, New Year's Day, when I woke up and said, we need to do something. We need a new challenge. So we were going to do the whole same thing that everybody else was doing about how can you take no money and can you, with no money, create something in 1 year? Now, Candace, I think you have done that, because pretty much when did you go full in and start your YouTube channel?
Beginning of October 2021.
Okay, but you've been consistent every single week, doing a very consistent pattern. You've got yourself over 1,000 subscribers now, and so you followed and stayed true to what the challenge itself was, even though I know that probably wasn't your plan, because that was a year and a bit later than when we started. But my point was, we started with nothing, and it was all about nickel and dime. What can you scrape together? Remember, we were doing all those, I was doing crafts and I was selling them on Marketplace.
I remember the plunger.
Oh my God. We were going to auctions, buying things in auctions, fixing them up, flipping them over. I bought funny little stools that people had left stuff at the side of the road, garbage. I painted it all. I recovered it, turned around and sell it so that I could make a bit of money, so that I could turn around and invest it. That was the whole point. We started with the hair curler chronicles. Remember, I used to do my hair.
I remember.
I had my hair in curlers, and
in the bathroom.
I still wear my curlers in the morning. I just don't invite you into the bathroom anymore. Although we probably could invite people into the bathroom and anyways, and we didn't know anything about making a thumbnail, about how any of this works. We were so freaking green. But we never, ever, ever did anything on leverage. It was always just what we had and what we were willing to lose.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, leverage can really take you down. Now, I did find a small list of some of the exchanges. So Bybit, Binance, you can go 20 times on Bitcoin leverage on Binance. Stormboom, Prime XBT, Phoenix, Kraken, Durbit, and BitMEX are the ones that at least came up. There's probably more. There's definitely more, but
Chris just said Bybit, which is you mentioned, and MargeX.
So there's another one right there. But that's the whole thing. I look at it this way: if you don't have, like, if you went and used a 20x leverage on $1,000 bet, and and the market decided to tank, there was a black swan event. Your $1,000 is probably gone. Plus, you're now in debt because they're going to margin call you. You're probably in debt a lot, and that can completely wreck you. Whereas if I'm using cash and something completely tanks, I'm taking a hit, but it's not going to wreck me because I have the cash. I'm there. I'm ready. And keep in mind too, like some of the things I do, like. When I go in and let's say I'm playing Manulife Financial. So, they're around $24 a share. And when I go in to make a play on them, I'm usually buying about 3,000 of those shares. So that when it goes up a penny, I'm making $30. So that's the advantage is if you have the capital to do that. then you can play it that way. And you don't need leverage to do that. Like, you have a good morning, and, if you happen to get in and all of a sudden the market goes crazy up, I mean, you can be going, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 as it's going up.
That's
so it can
amazing.
add up really
But
quick.
that requires time and expertise. You've got
It does.
you've got your investment certificates, right? You're able to do that now. You're
Well, I'm not certified. I've read all of the material, but
are you going to do that? Get certified?
Initially I was going to, but then I actually would have to step away for a bit and do an internship, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you have to do. And I was looking at all that, and I'm like, I'm not going to do all of that, because all I really wanted was the knowledge anyway, and I've got the knowledge.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to step back. I mean, I'm making more doing day trading than I would, working as a financial advisor.
Yeah.
So why would I do it? Why would I step back?
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's all good. That's really good. But yeah, I think if I look back on 2022, there was a lot of learnings we all had this year. I think you can't ever look back and go, it was all terrible. Like, there was some terrible moments. I think we all had some, like, but there's been some great learnings and great friendships. I mean, think about every week we get together as a fun little community, and we talk to each other. I mean, I love Jordan and Phil now. I love watching Ken's live stream on Saturday night. Everybody had gone to bed in the cottage, and I'm like, I was like, I can't fall asleep. I can't fall asleep. Turn on YouTube. Not that you put me asleep, Ken, but I just listened to you guys talk, and I could feel myself drifting off. Last week really threw me for a loop, because just as I popped on, Ken popped up a video of Tim, an old video that clip of Tim, and I was like, "What the hell? This is just." And then Ken did not read my comments. I go, I'm trying to fall asleep, and so what does him and Andrew do? They put on some kind of rock music. I went, oh, that's not going to help me fall asleep, so I had to shut the computer down. But I love watching those guys talk, and Jordan blowing glass. Although I still, makes me nervous that Jordan's going to be blowing glass and a little bit's going to fall on his tummy. And because sometimes he sits there in his living room, and I'm like, oh God, Jordan, I'm just anyways. But I have faith that he hasn't done it yet. But I worry about him, that we're going to hear an episode and Jordan's going to have caught himself on fire. But anyways, it's only because I care, Jordan. I'm just telling you right now. And but we've learned a lot. We've had a really great year of camaraderie and friendship, and it'll be really interesting to see what the markets do, both the crypto and the stock market next year. Because with a recession, Candace, we've talked about this before, soon as they call it, we're halfway through, and it starts to get better for the stocks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, stocks usually about halfway through the recession, that's when your bull market begins, when you flip from bear to bull. So I'm looking forward to that, because it'll be nice to see things in the green all the time again. And as a day trader, when things are mostly going up, that's the nice thing in a bull market. Like, if a stock goes down a little bit, you don't even have to worry about a stop loss too much. You can pretty much just say, okay, I'll just leave that one alone for a little bit. It's going to go back up in 20 minutes anyway. You don't have that opportunity in a bull market. You kind of have to get your stop losses and get out, and and sometimes just take that loss and make it up somewhere else. What was that?
You mean a bear market?
I'm right, in the bear market. Sorry. The bear and the bull. Yeah.
Yep, the bear and the bull. I never knew before we started this really what a bear and a bull market was. I didn't pay that much attention, but now I know. Bull goes up. Bear goes down.
Yeah.
Bear and bull.
Well, I know when I was a kid, I had a game, I think, some kind of an economic game, and I had a bear and a bull on it up around the market thing. And I always thought that the bear meant that Russians were controlling the market.
Okay, that's not even funny. I actually thought that too. I thought it was a Russian market because didn't the bear, wasn't there there was a bear
It was in a circus.
on
Yeah,
a
but no, I think a bear is. I think in Russia, a bear is an important animal for
Yes.
Russia. So there is an association there, and that's what I had jumped on as a kid.
Yep. That's
A bear?
because you and I are the same age. There had to have been a cartoon or something that we watched that associated us with bear and a Russian.
Yeah. Well, I think there was also. I think at Marvel, they had a Russian team of superheroes, and one of them could turn into a bear.
Yes, you're right.
And you know the other thing with the Russian aspect of it, do you remember Rocky and Bullwinkle? Wasn't their villains? Wasn't she
They were Russian.
wasn't
Natasha.
Natasha?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Natasha.
And of course, the other Rocky went to Russia and beat Draco. Rocky 4.
Balboa.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa went to fight in Russia.
Okay, speaking of funny things like that, I read a funny meme tonight, and I said to Tim, "Oh, quick, we have to put our shoes, a pair of shoes, a packet of cigarettes, and some Twinkies in the in the heating grate,
The ductwork.
in the ductwork." Tim goes, "What the hell for?" I said, "Well, you know, John McCain. Got to make sure we're ready for him."
Die Hard. Christmas. Movie.
Oh, okay. John McClane. Okay.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother. Boop.
Exactly. See, Ken knew exactly what I was talking
Do
about.
you know, I saw a movie that was released with him in it for 2022, and it must have been a swan song movie for him because he hardly said a word, and I think that was his last movie he ever made because he's suffering so much from whatever the dementia, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Dementia?
Oh, he's got a huge illness that has just killed his acting career. And I think this was the last movie he did because he hardly said a word.
Bruce Willis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at
He
the
can't
end,
remember lines or anything anymore.
that's right. And that's why I think it was a swan song because at the very end, the last closing remark from him was yippee-yi-yo, you know.
That's unfortunate. Like,
Yeah.
he's got to be...
He's aged huge. He is aged big time.
There's been a lot of...
Yeah.
There's
It's
been a lot of
aphasia that he has.
What's
He's
that?
what?
Aphasia.
Aphasia, that's it. Yeah.
Is that what he's got?
Yep.
That's unfortunate. There's been a lot of top celebrity deaths this year. Like, people that you go, oh my gosh. And not everybody has been old either. Like, funny things like Anne Hesh. She's our age, Candace. Like, that was weird, that car accident. And Kirstie Alley. Like, these are kind of...
Coolio went too.
Who?
Coolio.
No.
Yeah, Coolio's dead.
Yeah. But despite it all, Clint Eastwood is still producing and directing and in movies.
Keith Richards is still going as well.
Hey, listen, Dick Van Dyke had his 97th birthday today.
No, honey, last week.
It was in Facebook. I just do whatever Facebook says.
Got it.
Anyways, but Dick Van Dyke, man, there's an icon. And there was another one who...
Peter Criss turning 77.
Nope, somebody else that does a headstand. I think it was...
A headstand.
Yeah, every day does a headstand. And it was an older singer. It might be Paul McCartney. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's Sting. That's probably Sting. Sting was into that stuff.
I think it was Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney?
Does a headstand every day.
No? Well, why not?
To keep healthy.
What the hell health does that promote?
Well, I think if you can...
Was it an anti-aging?
Have you ever been able to stand on your head?
Well, yeah. Every time I'm on the bed and I look under the bed, I rest my head on the floor and I...
Stand on your head.
Why would I stand on my head? That would hurt.
Yeah, he's probably not standing on his head. He's probably standing upside down on his hands.
Why do they call that a headstand? Why would any person in their reasonable mind stand on their own head?
Well,
I
nobody
don't know, but
is.
I used to be able to do it, and handstands. I used to be able to
Yeah.
do
Handstands, I
handstands
understand
and
the terminology,
headstands.
but a headstand, it's like, what the hell is a headstand?
You're resting on the top of your head.
But
It
It's a
hurts. Why
yoga-
would you?
It's a yoga move.
Mm.
Anyways,
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, I guess it just gets your blood flow moving in the opposite direction, undoes gravity.
Yeah, there's those gravity machines or whatever too, right? You flip upside down. It's supposed to be healthy.
it's very
Yeah.
healthy.
It's to take pressure off of your spine to help with realignment of your back.
I mean, isn't that how Batman started?
yes. Okay, but there's something creepy about that being hung upside down. If I had really pissed Tim off, I could see him going out for a coffee and leaving me hanging upside down and not being able to get back right side up.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, I don't think you'd be able to.
Well, maybe he'd hang you upside down and then have a little aphasia and forget to come back.
There's that. Say, hey, Verena just jumped in, and Dan, Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for popping in. It's good to see you. Yeah, no, I don't know. Those things seem like a healthy thing to do, but then there's risks.
Yeah, the healthy thing to do. And as if I'm going to jump in to a bucket full of ice cold water.
Speaking of which, are you going to do the polar bear dip?
Oh, yeah.
We live right out in front of Lake Ontario.
I'll put ice in my coffee. Yeah.
And January 1st, every year, they do a massive polar bear dip here. It's one of the largest. They literally, people will run in and jump into Lake Ontario in the freezing cold.
People paddle for their life. 1, 2, 3, 4.
No,
Well,
some year I will do the polar bear dip, but that'll be the year I'm in Hawaii.
But you said one key word. They do it. Not Tim. They do it.
I know, but I'm asking if he would do it.
Why?
Because it would make a great short.
It would make a great
short. There'll be lots of shorts in that, let me tell you.
If I did it, would you videotape it?
Hell yeah.
Me screaming, ah! Ah!
Shit.
That's what it would be. I would be me screaming. I would run in and dive in and then come back out, and I'd probably have goose pimples, goose flesh, goose bumps, goose something for
Yeah.
apples.
They do that here every year too to raise money for something. I think they have a different cause every year.
Yeah, the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
Yeah.
It's not that I'd have to have shoes on. I don't think I could do it in my bare feet. That's for sure. I've thought about it.
I wouldn't do it in your bare feet.
No. Because, if you get sharp rocks, like in the summer, when you're trying to get out of there and there's sharp rocks, you could take your time and not step on anything. But when you're cold like that, you'd have to, you're just rushing.
Oh, that's the type of cold that sticks with you for a day.
Oh, yeah.
You're chilled to the bone. No matter how many hot beverages you have, you just don't get warm.
But, I think it's really good for your metabolism.
It probably is.
Yeah, there's healing properties with jumping into the cold.
Well,
that's been proven.
Cold actually stimulates brown fat. So if you have any brown fat on you, that's the fat that's metabolic. So cold will actually stimulate it to start basically producing energy, and that will create heat, and will also burn off more calories. And so it's one of the things, like kids, like when you have little kids, they don't get cold very often. Like they're out running around and you're like, you got to put a jacket on. Well, the reason they're not so cold is they have a lot more brown fat than adults do. And when you start forcing them to wear jackets and not utilize that brown fat, they start to lose it. So you're actually making them metabolically less active by throwing jackets on them.
Interesting. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting things about brown fat, because that's actually a good fat to have. But as you get older, you lose more and more of it.
How do we know if we have brown fat?
Well, you probably don't by right now, you probably don't have a lot of it left.
That would have been a good thing to know a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, I don't know. Anything else new and exciting to talk about?
Elon.
Okay, what about Elon?
So Elon, basically, here's my theory. Elon kind of realized he's been messing up big time with Twitter, and that it's affecting everything else. It's affecting Tesla, and as a result, he wanted a way out, but he wasn't going to just quit. So he knew going ahead that if he were to put up a poll saying should he resign, he knew they were going to say yes. But by doing it that way and saying I'll abide by it, it gave him a way out. So, I mean, he owns Twitter, but he'll eventually, as soon as he finds somebody suitable, he'll bring in a new CEO. But that gives him that little escape clause, and he gets to sort of keep a tiny bit of dignity. I don't know what dignity he has left. I mean, he got booed pretty bad at a recent show. So
Now, do you guys want to know the truth?
Yes.
He's in financial trouble, and the Saudis are willing to invest into Twitter, but not while he is the CEO.
Interesting.
Because he sold off a whole bunch
Well,
of
I mean,
stock, didn't he?
considering the fact that he's told Twitter not to pay any of their rent, that kind of makes sense.
That kind of goes towards bankruptcy.
It does. And that's what it looked like initially. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I think he's hurting. He's lost a lot of money.
What takes over from Twitter? What replaces Twitter in that particular space?
Facebook.
No.
No, I think there's a few other smaller little things out there. I don't know if was there one called Rumble or something.
Oh,
That's Canadian YouTube, though. Rumble's Canadian
Oh,
YouTube.
that's a YouTube thing. There is another one out there. I can't remember what it was called, but it's sort of an alternative because there's been a lot of people who have basically said, "Screw you, Elon. I'm leaving Twitter," and I have done that.
Well,
it's crazy how things are changing.
but can you think that they will come back to, you think people will migrate back to Facebook because Twitter's kind of gone?
I'm thinking so.
I'm thinking the opposite. I don't think they'll go to Facebook. Facebook is for old people. No offense, I'm in that group too, but the younger generations, so basically your Zoomers, plus they're not going to touch Facebook unless they'll go on it and make an account just so they can talk to their old people that are in their lives.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's the only reason they're using it. They're not using it. They're using everything but.
Yeah, see, Instagram's still very popular too because you can make reels and whatnot, and you can put whatever copyrighted material you want in it, and you don't get dinged for it.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok.
But Instagram isn't a lot of like where you can write a bunch of stuff. Like Twitter's a lot of writing.
Right, but have you seen kids?
Instagram's more pictures, less writing. Facebook's a combination of both. So
but the kids don't write anymore. It's all emojis and there's not a lot of writing. They can communicate. It's almost like they've got their own hieroglyphic language that they can use with the emoticons. And
there's another platform called Odyssey as well. I haven't looked at it.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, so Elon's in a big boatload of trouble, potentially. He said something I did read recently where he said he doesn't need money. He's not in ever need for money, which is kind of true. Like, even if he's left with just 1 billion, 1 billion is a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, he'll be fine overall. It's just, the big issue I think is whether, he's not going to give all his money up to Twitter, for example, if Twitter's going under. It's basically, he's got to sort of fix a few things. He's created a bit of a mess.
Sure.
And I think he kind of realizes on a whim saying he was going to buy Twitter kind of just created a giant mess for him. And, it hasn't gotten any better.
Well, it wouldn't have been such a mess if you would have just left it alone and fixed the whole censorship thing. Then it would have skyrocketed because that was the issue with Twitter.
But don't you think that, don't you think though that Elon is so brilliant and always on the surface looks like he's making a mess of things, and then something spectacular happens on the other end. Do you think he can pull a rabbit out of his hat on this one?
I'm hoping he can. I hope that we're all wrong. It's just that normally his mess starts to make a little bit of sense as you move deeper into it. In this case here, it almost seems like he just keeps scrambling. So it's hard to say. I think maybe he can, but the problem is he can't do it as him. That's kind of why he needs a new CEO. He needs to sort of be that silent person in the background on this one at this point, because it's just, there's no way he's going to get anywhere with the hit his reputation has taken. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are really hating Elon now.
Yeah. Well, he took away everybody's blue check marks. And now you can get your blue check mark again, but he also created a gold check mark, which costs even more. And it's just like, really? You know, you've just taken over Twitter and you've changed it where now these people that had the blue check mark are going to require like a gold check mark, and it's going to cost them even more money.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
just watch their stock. Just watch Twitter stock. That's all I can say.
Well, you can. It's private.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He took it private, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's his problem right there.
Well, he took it private just for the simple reason that he knew he was going to make a lot of drastic changes. So, you know, take it private, buy everybody out, then you don't have to really worry so much about shareholders as you're doing it.
But there's still a lot of people that are on Twitter to watch what he's doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not going to leave Twitter over, you know, anything he's doing. I got too many followers over there.
As long as it works, who cares what the hell he does? As long as it doesn't cost you any money at the end of the day, and it serves your purpose, then who cares what the hell he does? He can go do headstands. Who cares?
Here's the thing, though. I mean, if he gets everything up and working, and you know, and it becomes a better platform, I would even consider paying $8 a month for a blue check mark.
Really?
But what does the blue check mark get you?
It verifies that you're authentic, that you're not a bot. You know, they're supposed to do some kind of background check to make sure that you're real. But I don't think they were doing it right. Because I know after the whole fiasco when he first rolled it out, I think he was just having some kind of automated system that was easy to get past with fake credentials. So now he's got supposed to have real people looking at these, you know, at people's submissions.
Yeah, blue check marks aren't available in Canada as of yet.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, right now until he gets over Apple, because I'm not going to pay an extra $3 a month for my blue check mark because I use Apple devices.
Yeah.
You know, because that's, to me, just because he's mad at Apple doesn't mean he should be taking it out on me.
Right. Right.
He should do the blue check mark for free and just do data harvesting.
Yeah. Because I mean, that would be, you know, have an option for people to just verify themselves. And then he could do his gold check mark for like celebrities or, you know, people of importance or whatever. And they could maybe they have to pay it or something. I don't know, but well, they can afford it. So
exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting times. Yeah. And I can see everybody's frustration because if we're heading for a recession, who's going to pay for that?
Well, everybody.
You think you honestly think everybody will pay for a blue check mark when they're in a recession?
No, I thought you meant who's going to pay for the recession.
Oh, I was going to say, well,
I thought we just changed the subject. Okay, we're back. We're still on Twitter then. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting move for him for that paid service when, you know, in a recession, people start cutting that stuff back.
No, but the people who will pay for it are the pseudo celebrities, people who have followings, but they're just not, you know, they're not famous enough to fit into the blue check mark qualifications of the old Twitter, because it was very, very hard to get a blue check mark.
Yeah.
So you pretty much almost had to be very much in the public eye to get one.
right?
But now this gives people, like, for example, YouTubers, so that they can avoid people who are trying to scam their followers by making fake YouTube accounts. Because if they get that blue check mark, then they're good.
Yeah. No, there's part of what he's doing here is not completely wrong either, though. And
I mean, I think he's got good intentions. He just doesn't seem to understand the best highway to get to them.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he takes some detours through Funkyville.
Yeah, no kidding.
Electric
Well,
Avenue.
well, you know what? I think that we'll start to wrap this up. This has been a great conversation. Thank you guys for an awesome 2022. I enjoyed spending most Wednesday nights with you, Tim and Candace, for sure, every Wednesday night.
Mhm.
And I really, really appreciate you holding down the fort. I never did ask you, did you like the conversation with Chris Dancy?
Yeah, no, that was great. I thought Chris was interesting.
Yeah, he was a good guy,
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm looking forward to the videos that Tim's going to clip out of that when they hit the
I'm working on it.
the channel. So because I think those are
There's a lot. There's a lot. His K Mike M, which is the guy that you buy shares in his life. I've reached out to him to see if he'll come on, and I'm kind of investigating him. So yeah, no, it's in my iMovie, and I'm editing it slowly but surely.
yeah.
More slowly, because I don't know Shirley.
Huh. Anyway, so but yeah, no, we enjoyed him. We've had some good guests, and you guys have been staples, and so I want to thank you for a great 2022.
Yep.
Wishing you guys all the best for.
We're not going to see them next week.
Yeah, we have a show before the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Next week.
Just wish them a Merry Christmas, Gracie, and say goodnight.
Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
that's the show that Tim's coming dressed up as the baby New Year.
Oh goodness, and maybe he will do the polar bear dip too. Anyways, thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody watching. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah if you celebrate that. You know, whatever you celebrate, enjoy with your time with your family. And we
Happy
will
Festivus.
Happy Festivus. And we will see you next week.
Yeah, we'll always be back here.
Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh.
I'm waving by.
Okay.